Hail and well met, travelers. My name is Christy Clow, and welcome to my channel. So, for my first video of 2021, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I decided to do the D&D tag that Ginny D has written. She's done a video with Mark Holmes where they ask each other these various questions, and I'll link both of their videos below. I wanted to do this video because D&D, or Dungeons & Dragons, is something I truly love, and I thought it'd just be fun to start doing some more D&D content on this channel. So there are 15 questions altogether, and let's get started. The very first question is, what was your first D&D character? So the first D&D game that I played in was a one-shot that was run by my friend Danny of Dicely D&D, and I'll link his channel down below. I was fresh out of my first Dragon Age Inquisition playthrough, and so I was very much into that classic kind of RPG trope at the time, so I think my first character was a red-headed human rogue, and if I had to take a bet, her name was probably Evie, because that is just the name that I give to all red-headed rogues. I don't know why. Or probably because of Evie from The Mummy. Question 2 is, which D&D class is your least favorite to play, or do you not want to play? So if you had asked me this question 6 months to a year ago, I probably would have said that Paladin is a class that I am not interested in playing at all. But I've recently actually been working on a Paladin character that I'm going to be playing in an upcoming campaign, and honestly, I really do think it comes down to if you make an interesting backstory, then the class will be interesting to play. There's always a way to make it interesting, and I think at this point I wouldn't actually rule out any specific class. Alright, question number 3 is, what D&D spell would you most want to have in real life? I currently play a wizard, and so part of the fun of spellcasting with that is like the big kind of damage spells like fireball or things like that, but obviously I couldn't cast those in real life because, well, I would be a mass murderer, and that's not good. I'm trying to think of like a practical one. Honestly, I think Mage Hand would be one, specifically because I've always had this dream of being able to walk down the street and have something else hold my coffee for me so that my hands were free. I know that seems really lame, but I really want that. Or speak with animals, would love to have that. That's definitely a spell that I take a lot in D&D, even though it may not have the most like practical uses, just because, I don't know, I always want to talk to animals, so I think that would be really fun too. Question number 4, what is your favorite D&D monster? My favorite monster in general, and I actually don't like calling them monsters even though I know that in the game they're evil, is dragons. I've always been obsessed with dragons even before D&D. Like, when I was a kid, every single book I read was fantasy, and if they had dragons and they were friends with those dragons, then that was just perfect. So I actually really want to play in a campaign where the dragons aren't all evil or like creatures that you have to fight, but instead there could be some way that you were friendly with them or something. And I know that's unlikely, but I just really like them, and I don't like that they're always considered evil in this pantheon specifically. Alright, number 5 is, what is your favorite NPC or villain that you've encountered or created? I personally do not DM, so I'm going to do one that I've encountered instead. In my current campaign, we actually have an NPC that has kind of become the villain. In the current campaign that I'm in, we work for a university, and the head of that university, he assigns us our tasks and he sends us out into the world, and he seemed like a pretty stand-up guy. Like, he's definitely someone that my character put a lot of trust in, and recently we found out that he's actually not a good person, or he's made some really questionable decisions that we're going to have to now deal with, and I think my character is feeling a little bit confused about how she feels about him, but definitely me as a player, I'm like fascinated. Like, I want to know what he's up to and what's going to come of everything that he's done. So he wished to live forever because he wanted to keep working with the university that he established, but in doing so he was tricked, and he has now become a demon himself. And basically our characters don't like that he didn't tell us that, which is understandable that he wouldn't, but it has caused some repercussions now. Question number 6 is, has one of your characters ever died, and what killed them? Yes. My current character that I'm still playing, her name is Ravi. She's a halfling wizard, and she is an abjuration wizard, which I made her that so that she would be able to kind of take some hits with her magical ward, because we have a pretty small party. But yeah, we were fighting the big bad of the first arc of the campaign, and I died pretty quickly, I'm pretty sure. I don't really remember doing anything that special. Like, I thought I was playing it smart, but no, she died quite quickly, and I genuinely thought that was going to be it for the character, and I was so sad because there was so much more that I wanted to do with that class and with her in particular, but thankfully that aforementioned NPC, the head of the university, he managed to teleport to us and bring me back to the university, and Ravi was resurrected, so I am here again. But definitely now Ravi is less likely to run into encounters. She still will because she is chaotic like that, but she now wears like a diamond around her neck so that if she ever were to fall again, the cleric wouldn't have to look for one, would just have one available so she could be brought back. So she's more cautious and definitely was affected by dying, for sure. So question number 7 is, what is your best natural 20 story? I actually had to go into my campaign notebook and double check because I can't remember specifically, and even so I was a little bit unsure. But I think anytime that I roll a nat 20 on a big spell and I get to double my damage, that feels really good. I don't actually get like the killing blow that often, just because my spells don't always, like, they whiff a lot, unfortunately. So anytime I do a lot of damage, it just feels really good. Yeah, I think that's the main one. Number 8 is, what is your best natural 1 story? So we were on the open sea, actually sailing over to where like the big bad most likely was on some island, and our ship got taken over by a bunch of sirens, and just right at the gate I rolled a nat 1 on my wisdom save, and I was just incapacitated for the entire fight. It was really frustrating. And I just, like, whatever I did, I could not roll high enough for my wisdom to save, so every round I was just sitting there like, I am not helping at all, and it sucked. Question number 9 is, what is the highest level you've ever played a character to? I think in my first campaign I got to like level 15 or something like that. And then for the last session, everyone was level 20, but I wasn't actually able to be there that day, so I never actually got to play as my level 20 character. So the one I remember the most is currently, I think I'm at level 11 or 12. I don't know if we'll make it to 20 or what that would even be like. I'm sure there's so much to remember, but it would be fun to do like a one-shot at level 20 or something like that. Okay. Question number 10 is, what is your favorite magical item? In all honesty, I think my favorite magical item might be the drift globe, just because I can see myself in real life having a lot of use for that, just something I could just turn on and have it give me light, and I don't have to hold it or do anything with it. And I always love finding them in campaigns because I find them really useful, especially if I'm playing a character that doesn't have dark vision, which my current character does not because she's a halfling. Yeah, I just really like that item. Question number 11 is, if you had an IRL alignment, what would it be? I do just quickly need to refresh myself of what the different alignments are. Okay, so looking at this alignment chart, I want to say I'm probably between like neutral good and chaotic good. Like in my heart, I think I'm chaotic, but I really don't do anything that's like chaotic like that. So probably more neutral good, because I don't know, there's definitely some laws that shouldn't be laws, and there's some problematic stuff with that. But on the whole, like, I do try to be a good person. So it's kind of a really boring answer, but I guess it would be more concerning if I was like, I'm chaotic evil. That would be scary. Question number 12 is, if you had to date one of your characters, which one would you pick? If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I would literally date any of my own characters. I think they're all great. And I don't know what that says about me necessarily, but I don't know. My first character, the one I mentioned, which is like the Evie, the redheaded rogue, definitely would date her because who doesn't want that? Like, it's such a classic trope, and I think it would just be a lot of fun. My current character, Ravi, she's great. Like, I think it would be like a difficult relationship, perhaps, because she's very inexperienced, so I feel like she might get spooked pretty quickly, to be honest. So perhaps for her, she wouldn't want to date me, but yeah. In my other campaign, I have Rook, who is a tiefling monk, and she's just badass and super cool, so I would definitely date her too. Look, I don't know what to tell you. The first thing that you need to do when making a D&D character is make them dateable. That's just how it works. Question number 13 is there a character you want to play but haven't had the chance to play it yet? So many. Oh my god. There are so many characters that I want to play. Definitely the one I'm most looking forward to, and I know is going to be coming up the soonest, is that paladin that I previously mentioned. I just think her backstory is really interesting, and I'm super excited to play it out and see what happens with that. I've always really wanted to play a drow character, but I haven't really found the right opportunity yet. So one day I'm sure it'll happen, and I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly, all characters, because just they're all so different and so fun, so I'm just eager to play all of them, to be honest. Question number 14 is, are you a dice goblin or a dice minimalist? Well, this is my main bag of dice. This was actually made for me for a Critical Role Secret Santa that I got last year. It's meant to be kind of like Jester from Critical Role themed, and I think it's the most beautiful thing ever. So it came with these little charms. So there is a donut, because Jester loves pastries, and little art, because she's a painter, and I just think it's super cute. Alright, so this is my dice bag. And within the dice bag, I have a second one. And then I have the Vox Machina D&D set. I have the Vox Machina D20 set. And then I have these, they're glow-in-the-dark dice that I got for a Critical Role dice exchange. I actually have 2 sets of those somewhere. And then I have a third dice bag that my friend made for me. So those were all inside. And then inside of those, there's just, I don't know if I'm going to show this to you. So many. Like, alright. So again, so many dice. The very last con that I went to, which was the Toronto Fan Expo, I guess 2 summers ago now, I think I bought 9 sets of dice there alone, which maybe isn't a lot. To me, it seemed like a lot, but I truly went there with money specifically just to buy dice. So I do have a lot. I probably, like, technically wouldn't need to buy any more, but I'm still going to because they're just so pretty and there's so many different cool varieties. I think the cool thing about dice is that they relatively are cheap, especially if you buy just kind of like the resin kind or like Chessex or something like that. Because you don't have to buy like the fancy metal or gemstone. And so for like $10 you can get a set that are super pretty, and so it's kind of an easy thing to spend money on, in my opinion. Alright, and then the last question, question number 15, is what rule or mechanic have you never quite wrapped your brain around? To be honest, there's probably a lot that I haven't. I struggle, I think, a little bit with like reactions and bonus actions, especially because I played a monk recently and trying to figure out kind of what I could use my key points for and like how many of my various like key point things I can do in one turn. You know, like can I do flurry of blows but also stun but also do this, and yeah, so having like a friendly table of people that are willing to help you out is, I think, key to having like a fun D&D session, because there are a lot of rules, and I think it'd be crazy if anyone had or I think it'd be crazy if everyone had the Matt Mercer brain where you can just recall everything, but even he doesn't know it all because there's just so much. So I don't know, I don't feel bad about not knowing it all. It's overwhelming. So that was Ginny D's D&D tag, and it was a lot of fun to do, so thank you for coming along with me while I answered all those questions. If you yourself are not a D&D player, but you are interested in starting, but feel a little bit overwhelmed by the rules, I highly recommend my friend Danny's channel, Dicely D&D. I'll link it below and up here. He has a series where he basically creates a character with you and introduces you to all of the basic rules of D&D, and it's super informative and really helpful. And yeah, I think you should check it out. I really hope that you like this video. In 2021, I really want to do more D&D themed videos just because it's something that I am really passionate about and I love a lot and would love to share with you guys. So if you have any ideas for videos I could do, leave them in the comment section down below. And if you haven't yet already, please consider subscribing. And as always, I hope that you find a way to make your weird inner kid happy this week. Bye! So for my first video of 2021, I wanted to do something she did a video with Mark Holmes. I wanted to do, oh my god. Yeah, I'm hoping in 2021 to do more D&D themed movies. That would be fun. Everyone do? He made a deal with the devil? Or?
He wished to live forever.
Oh, he wished?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. Spoilers. He wished?
He wished to basically live forever so he could keep working with the university.
Yeah.
And the being that answered his wish was the one that he binged.
Oh.
But he was tricked into signing this contract to extend his life by turning himself into a demon.
So now he is a demon. There you go, spoilers. And as always, I hope that you find a way to make your weird inner kid happy this week. And bye for now!